Hello, welcome to Writings from the Hills. My name is Lori. This week I am reading from a pretty old book. This is Symmes Creek. It is historical events and stories of the Symmes Valley, including Jackson, Gallia, and Lawrence counties, Ohio. It was written and compiled by Wayne B. Ingles, edited by Judith Dennis, and artwork by Lisa Childress. And this was copyrighted in 1976. And as you can see, this book edition has been recovered, and it is from our genealogy department, and it remains in there. So anytime anyone wants to read it, it is available. There are some copies available to be borrowed through our library's consortium. So you can go to our website at www.brookslibrary.com or call any of our locations to reserve a copy. There are a lot of interesting art chapters, including Indian captives, the last bear, the Welsh settlement, the old-time wedding, Daniel Boone's cave, the John Wiseman estate, trading at the country store. So there's all kinds of different things. I am actually going to be reading from a section called Cadmus. I think a lot of us have probably heard of Cadmus. This small community on Symmes Creek in Walnut Township had its beginning in the early 1820s. It was first called Coddington's Mill. In 1830, Samuel Wiseman bought the mill and changed the name to Wiseman's Mill. And in 1835, Mr. Wiseman sold to Mr. Sprinkles. The name was changed once again to Sprinkles Mill. In 1886, some members of the community met with Samuel Drummond's store and asked for nominations to rename the village. One member of the group had been reading a Greek novel. In the novel, the name Cadmus was mentioned, probably the name of the hero in the story. At any rate, the group elected to rename the village Cadmus. Ernest Wiseman, a longtime resident of Gallia County, was born in Walnut Township. His father, John, had married E. Barger, and they had two children, Esco and Reno. She died shortly after the birth of her son, Reno. He then married Bertha Piles, and Ernest and their first child was born in 1897. He started to school at Olive, and his first teacher was Jacob C. Miller, who also provided his transportation to the school. Mr. Miller rode horseback from his farm near the McDaniels Crossroads, and he would stop at the Wiseman home early each day, and Ernest would climb up behind the young teacher, and off to school they would go. Mr. Wiseman went to Olive 6 years, and he began going to the Cadmus Hill School between Cadmus and Sandford Church. The building was moved around 1950 to the mouth of Carpenter Hollow. It still stands, serving as a barn on the farm owned by Ralph Ingles. Mr. Wiseman's teacher at Cadmus Hill School was Joseph Williams. And here is a picture, hopefully you can see it, of the Cadmus Covered Bridge. In 1916, Mr. Wiseman started high school at Rio Grande. He had already passed the test for the teacher's certificate, and before high school was over, Mr. Wiseman was drafted into the Army. Upon discharge, he completed high school and attended the Rio Grande College. In the fall of 1921, Mr. Wiseman was hired to teach at Cadmus School. He began his teaching career in the large frame school situated across from Carter's Grocery at Cadmus. The winter of 1928-29 found Mr. Wiseman in the new modern brick school presently used as an elementary school at Cadmus. Mr. Wiseman states he was a coach of football, basketball, and track. He did most of the janitorial work and directed plays and taught classes, all for the salary of $1,020 a year. Ernest Wiseman, now a successful real estate and insurance agent, is an active historian. His volumes on historical data of the Symmes Valley were invaluable to this writer. Mr. Wiseman tells a story related to the insurance business in one of the schools on Aaron's Creek in Lawrence County. Rex Harrell sent word to Mr. Wiseman that the school buses in that area needed insurance. Also, he should see about insuring one of the feeder lines to the Aaron's Creek School. Now, a feeder line was transportation needed to bring students to the main bus line. Mr. Wiseman arrived at the appointed time at Aaron's Creek School, and during his wait for Mr. Harrell, he noticed 3 children climb upon the back of a gray horse and depart for home. As they were leaving the schoolyard, Mr. Harrell drove up. Mr. Wiseman asked where the vehicle was and needed insurance. Mr. Harrell pointed to the gray horse and said, "There it goes." In 1918, Ernest Wiseman married Alice Clyce. Her father was H. C. Clyce, a schoolteacher in Walnut Township, and her mother was Nellie Barger Clyce. And the next section actually includes some excellent photos. This is the Cadmus High School of 1927, which is the last high school class to graduate from the old frame building owned by the Redmond's Lodge. So this is actually, it's got a lot of information. Some of them are stories, a lot of maybe some information for those who's doing family research on genealogy, especially if you are in the Symmes Valley area, the Symmes Creek Valley area. So you can borrow this. This copy remains in our genealogy department, so it's always available to be looked through and read, but there are copies available for circulation at one of our consortium member libraries. And I thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Bye.